What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Legitical Response. We cover political news. We keep you up to date and keep you informed with everything that the government does. And we also love to do a little bit of counter narrative because the mainstream narrative machine loves to lie. That they have to prop up their lies by promoting this narrative that is absolutely false. And what is that narrative? Generally, it's Trump bad, Republicans evil, Democrats and the left, these are good people. These are the good people. These are the ideas you want. But it's all absolute BS. Most people on the right, conservatives, they're Christians with Christian values. Thou shalt not kill. Turn the other cheek. Yeah, these are not evil people. Yeah, we're trying to uphold our society, and it's absolutely being blown apart. Okay, these people are trying to destroy our country. If you have not seen, the Kansas City Chiefs kicker, for God's sakes, did a commencement speech at a graduation in a Christian college, by the way, and he has gotten the left so up in arms and so deranged that they signed a petition to get him fired from the Chiefs for basically saying, that women are looking forward to getting married and having babies. Yeah, there was nothing, absolutely nothing controversial in that speech. It was all up and up. It was all good, traditional values, traditional, just American values in general is what that speech was all about. I had to go look at the speech when I read that story, but that's not even what we're talking about today. We're talking about the destruction of this nation. But that story, I wanted to get that out of the way, just goes to show how far the left is willing to go to destroy this country and impose their degenerate culture on everybody. If you don't celebrate Pride Month, you're a transphobe or you're a bigot, right? If you don't celebrate all their little bitty bullshit, if you don't let trans women go into the women's bathroom, you're a transphobe, you're a racist. Like, what does race have to do anything with that? But they'll call you a racist, right? Like, all of this stuff that is absolutely blowing the norm, right? Like, men cannot be women, for God's sakes. And these people are trying to convince people otherwise, and they are willing to burn this country to the ground. I mean, not literally. That's hyperbole, if you will. They're not literally trying to burn this country to the ground, but they're trying to burn down any sort of semblance to a traditional culture that we have been having ever since this country's formation. So they are trying to destroy it, and we need to push back. And that story with the kicker from the Kansas City Chiefs, them signing a petition to get him fired, come on, whinge a little bit more. Good luck with that petition, by the way, because I highly doubt anybody that looks at that commencement speech will think anything less. As a matter of fact, they'll probably look at him in a better light because this is a good Christian conservative guy who is trying to support Christian values. He's not trying to push his values on the left, on none of these people like they're doing to us. It's outright BS. It pisses me off because, hey, we just want to live our lives and be left alone. And these people want us to be involved with their lives. Like I said, if you don't get involved in Pride Month, you're a racist, bigot, transphobe, homophobe, right? That's what they try to tell you. But don't buy into that narrative. Push back. Tell them they're degenerate, that they should be ashamed of themselves, that God will not look brightly upon them for those actions. Any sins will not be looked upon very well, right? We all sin. I sin as well. But don't you come trying to put your damn worldview and your degenerate values onto me. Leave me the hell alone, and I will leave you the hell alone and let you have all of the degeneracy that you want. But enough of that little rant. I just had to get that off my chest. Let's get into the story right quick, y'all. Because, once again, the Biden administration is trying to destroy this country. Check this out. U.S. proposes ending new federal leases in nation's biggest coal region. Yep, that's right. The Biden administration just proposed a new rule to eliminate these new coal leases for coal mining. Sorry, I stumbled through that. The Biden administration on Thursday proposed an end to new coal leasing from federal reserves in the most productive coal mining region in the U.S. as officials seek to limit climate-changing greenhouse gas emissions from burning the fuel. Right? Like, what are these people going to do about China? What are these people going to do about India and all these other nations that use coal because it's cheap and it produces a lot of energy? Cheap energy, as a matter of fact. What are they going to do about this? This is something that never made any sense to me, right? Like, these people, they're constantly screaming about, oh, climate change is going to destroy the planet. It's going to make it harder for us to live. It's going to kill people, y'all. Right? Like, no, it won't. As a matter of fact, it won't. However, taking away our ability to produce cheap energy, electricity, right? You get rid of these coal-fired power plants. You're going to destroy the electrical grid. People are not going to have electricity, which is going to in turn kill people. But the climate religion, what they're proposing to do is going to kill a lot more people a lot faster than some far-flung threat of climate change, right? Like, that's not going to happen in 10 years. They've been saying that since the 70s. Oh, it's only 10 years away, right? 50 freaking years ago, since before I was even born. They've been saying, oh, it's 10 years or 20 years or something like that. And they keep saying that. And the change that we're seeing is at a very slow pace. They try to tell you it's fast. They try to tell you, oh, it's going to happen soon, y'all. And then it never does. But these people are outright trying to genocide. The same people that are pissed off at Israel and trying to halt all the weapons from going over there and all this other BS, which I agree with, but for different reasons, trying to halt all this because they think Israel is committing a genocide. But if they had their freaking way, shutting down all the coal-fired power plants, taking all the cars off the road, shutting down the electrical grid, for God's sakes, because that's what the end result would be if you take away all the coal from these coal-fired power plants. It's going to destroy the energy grid. We're not going to have electricity except for in a few places where they have solar power or hydroelectric power or something like that, which we do have a few of, or nuclear power stations, which we do have a few of, but we need a whole hell of a lot more. I would be totally on board with, instead of sending $60 billion to Ukraine, how about you take that $60 billion and you build some nuclear power plants? How about that? How about that for the climate change religion? Yeah. Let's do that instead of stopping the leases for coal mining so we can have coal in our coal-fired power plants, right? Let's get rid of the coal power plants and change them out with nuclear power plants. How about that? Instead of just stopping the mining that's going on and not bringing any solutions to the table, we just want to stop it. Just like they're doing with oil, for God's sakes. They're wanting to destroy our economy, and some people just don't see it. Anybody and everybody that is going to vote for Biden in this upcoming election is insane to me once they find out what Joe Biden is actually doing. And that's why I stress on some of you guys out there, share this video with anybody and everybody you can, because we need to get the word out. Because these people are insane and they're going to destroy the country outright. If the climate change had their way, the grid would be shut down and we'd all be thrust back into freaking 1750, for God's sakes. And a lot of people are going to die very quickly if that were to happen. The Bureau of Land Management proposal would affect millions of acres, millions of hectares of federal lands and underground mineral reserves in the Powder River Basin area of Wyoming and Montana. The immediate impact is likely to be limited because coal leases take many years to develop and demand has flagged in recent years. I wonder what the hell they mean by flagged. Demand has flagged? I wonder if that's a typo. Anyway, but the proposal drew harsh pushback from Republicans in Congress, coming just weeks after President Joe Biden's Democratic administration unveiled an air quality rule that could force many coal-fired power plants to reduce their pollution or shut down. Yes, we covered that video. If you're a longtime viewer of this channel and you saw that video, yeah, we covered that, and we went over most of this in that video, but I'm going to go over it again because we need to get the message out. These people want to destroy the country, for God's sakes, Biden wants to shut down all these coal-fired power plants and has no solution to replace them. What does that tell you? That he wants to kill the grid anywhere where these coal-fired power plants are operating, right? Which are mostly in red states. So he doesn't care about Republicans. So he doesn't care about the country, right? Trying to destroy the power grid is trying to destroy the country. He's already destroyed the economy. I don't know if we're going to be able to come back. We're going to have to do a whole lot of deregulating and drilling of oil and mining for coal, for God's sakes, and natural gas to get this economy back going. It's crazy. Thursday's proposal was made in response to a 2022 court order that said 2 federal land management plans drafted for the Powder River Basin during former President Donald Trump's administration had failed to adequately take into account climate change and public health problems caused by burning coal. In response, the Biden administration is issuing plans that would stop further coal leasing in the region while preserving existing leases. Yet you have to. The plans are subject to a 30-day public protest period before they become final. Federal officials said they anticipate coal mining to continue from existing leases through 2041 in Wyoming and through 2060 at a mine in Montana. Another Montana mine, the Spring Creek mine, could run out of federal coal reserves by 2035. More than 50 years earlier than if leases were to continue being issued, according to government analysis of the proposal. So, they know that some of these mines are going to run out pretty soon, right? 2041, 2035. You know, in the grand scheme of the economy and the country, that's pretty dadgum soon. And Biden is shutting down new leases for coal mining, right? Like they even said, it takes many years to develop these mines. So we need to get going now before we run out of coal. They're not going to be able to build power plants in that short amount of time. That's what I covered in my last video on this topic, right? Trying to cut all these emissions by 2030, for God's sakes. They're not going to be able to do that in 6 freaking years. There's no freaking way. They want to install all these air scrubbers, right, that pull the carbon out, of the stacks as they're burning the coal. They want to do that. But the damn technology for this isn't even fully developed yet. So, yeah, there's no way they're going to be able to get this rolling and get these into production, because look how many coal-fired power plants we have in this country. There's way too many to count. I mean, you can count them, of course, but I don't have that number. I do know it's a very high number. That is the bulk of our power supply, if you will. It is the bulk of the grid, for God's sakes. And these people want to shut it down by 2030, right? Like, why is Biden trying to do this? It blows my freaking mind. I'm sorry to keep saying that, because I say it blows my freaking mind a whole hell of a lot, because my mind keeps getting constantly blown at the steps the Biden administration is taking to absolutely undermine the economy, undermine the people of this country, undermine everything about our culture, everything about anything conservatives have to do with everything, as a matter of fact. Rewind that if you want to pick up on exactly what I said just now. Yeah, rewind it right quick. I'll wait. No, I'm just kidding. I won't wait. I'm going to keep going, because you can just rewind again if you need to. But let's keep going. Sorry. 14 active coal mines in the region in 2022 produced almost 260 million short tons of coal, about 40% of the total U.S. production. Elected officials in Wyoming and Montana responded with outrage, characterizing the proposal as an assault on domestic energy sources that will kill coal jobs and cost the states millions in lost revenue. Once again, like I said, the Biden administration doesn't care about the blue-collar worker, doesn't care about the people of this country. Oh, if you live in a red state, who gives a damn? As a matter of fact, if you're a Democrat, Joe Biden doesn't care. He doesn't seem to care at all, because this will most certainly affect blue states and Democrat voters. So that's why I don't understand how people can still get behind Joe Biden. For God's sakes, he's trying to destroy the infrastructure of this country. What has Trump done? He has some mean tweets on social media. That's about the worst thing that you can say that Trump did. right? Like, name something bad that Trump done that is anywhere near what Joe Biden has done to this country. Wyoming has been targeted left and right by rule after rule handed down by this administration, said Wyoming Republican U.S. Senator Cynthia Lummis. Wyoming coal is needed now more than ever to power our nation and the world. Yeah, the world might be a little bit hyperbolic there, Miss Senator. Montana Republican Rep. Ryan Zinke, who sought to boost coal production with little success while serving as Trump's Interior Secretary, said coal provides reliable power for the electricity grid and modern mining technologies have reduced its environmental impacts, right? And they are still furthering this technology, as we talked about a minute ago. They're making these scrubbers to get almost 90% of emissions. That current emissions, by the way, they will cut the CO2 emissions by 90%. That is insane. That's like taking like 60-something million cars off the road per year. Yeah, that's crazy, y'all. The partisan divide over federal coal reserves traces back to 2016 leasing moratorium imposed under former Democratic President Barack Obama. That's the first time I think I've ever seen them refer to Barack Obama as former president. Trump officials scuttled the moratorium before it was revived in 2022 by a federal judge. An appeals court in February struck it down, raising fears among environmentalists of a potential mining resurgence on federal lands. Thursday's proposal and the increasingly bleak market for coal in the U.S. would make such a resurgence far less likely. Yes, but we need that resurgence, y'all. Like this article outright said that some of these mines are going to run out pretty daggone soon. And these mines produce up to 40% of the coal for the country. And these, like I said earlier, these mines take years to develop to start actually producing coal for these plants. So now is not the time for us to be sitting on our laurels and actually stopping them from developing these things. It's just like with the oil out there, right? Like Joe Biden over here, all right, is imposing no new federal drilling for oil on federal lands, no new leases for drilling oil on federal lands, while at the same time begging the Saudis to drop the price for oil, for God's sakes, when this SOB, I almost said it, this SOB could be drilling for oil out in the Gulf of Mexico on federal lands all over the place. We could be energy independent with gas prices hovering around $1.50 per gallon. Instead, we're paying $3.50 a freaking gallon. Yeah, thanks, Joe Biden, at a time when inflation is back on the rise, y'all. Yeah, I covered that story the other day, too. Inflation is coming back up, and everybody's pocketbooks are hurting because we had 9% inflation for like a freaking year. We had insane inflation. Some prices are 200% and 300% higher than they were just a year before, just the year prior. Right? So on average, we're paying 30 to 40% more for everyday items, groceries, and Joe Biden wants you to pay more for gas because it hurts the climate. Right? He wants these people to suffer. The Democratic Party has become the party of the corporate machine. That's what they are. So if you're some blue-collared worker or some broke guy and you think the Democratic Party is the people's party, it's not. It's the corporate elite's party. The Republican Party is now the blue-collar workers' party, all the party of the unions, or it should be, all the union workers. Anybody out there that's not a corporate elite or some sort of rich person, rich billionaire, you should be with the Republicans, for God's sakes. Not saying that the Republicans are good, for crying out loud, because they're not, but they're far better than the damn Democrats are. That is for damn sure, with their insane agenda and their insane policies. Just look at California, for God's sakes. They had to clean poop out of the streets of San Francisco to show off for Xi Jinping, a communist dictator. That's who these people really are. And if you don't believe it, just look at everything that's going on around you. Start reading the news. Start reading news articles from left sources and right sources and centrist sources. Read the news. Watch these videos. You will start to change your mind if you're a Democratic voter. I can promise you that. It's not propaganda. It's all confirmed. Most of it's the truth. These people want to destroy the country. And they're trying to win your votes. Look what Biden's doing, for God's sakes. Trying to buy your votes. Paying off student debt loan. And now he's withholding bombs from Israel, which I do agree with, but for different reasons. Withholding weapons from Israel because of some protesters on college campuses. Because he needs to win their support back. That's all he's doing it for, y'all. This dude's opinions changes with the wind. There's video after video after video of Biden. His policy positions from 10, 15 years ago were completely opposite than what they are now.
Something unsavory now, the issue of immigration.
Yeah.
Is there a Democratic Party position which accommodates the need to stop illegal entry, punish people who hire people at cheap wages illegally, and also gives hope to people who live here illegally and people who want to come here right now? Is there a possible combination that hits all those points?
I think there is. And I think that the McCain-Kennedy bill, Kennedy-McCain, the Specter bill that came out does it. If you take a look, Chris, at what Frist is talking about, only enforcement. The enforcement provisions that sit inside the Specter bill, the McCain or the Kennedy-McCain bill, there ain't a dime's worth of difference to them. They're the same amount of money, 12,000 new border agents.
You think they work?
I think they will work better if they actually, in fact, do it.
Can you scare an employer in this country, whether he's an agricultural worker or a housewife, into not hiring an illegal because the punishment's so high that if you get caught,
yes,
it's a huge embarrassment to your family, and you may just get hit with a fine that'll kill you?
Absolutely, you
can do that.
And that's what we should do. Well, I think we should do that.
Because you can't catch everybody.
You can't. No, you can't. And the last part of this is that the Democratic position also recognizes you got 11 million illegal aliens here. They have to have a way to earn their way into the deal. This is an amnesty. They're required to take 11 years' worth. They pay a fine. They got to learn to speak English. They got to pass tests.
I like the English part.
Yeah.
I like the English part.
By the way,
if we want the problems of Canada right now, keep encouraging people to keep their foreign language. English is going to unite this country potentially. It always has in the past.
I can't think of a country that has two languages as their accepted languages that is doing all that well, including Switzerland and or Canada.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to
What must be what? I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure.
Let me start off with two words. Made in America.
He is a career politician, the most corrupt politician in American history. Outright. That's my opinion. But that is pretty much fact these days. Like I said, I read these news articles all the damn time. Fact check these news articles. Come to find out, they lie all the damn time. It's a damn shame. The people who are supposed to be the bringers of fact are the bringers of propaganda, y'all. That's all they are. A big propaganda corporate narrative machine. That's all they do. And that's all I got. But I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comment section. Do y'all believe that the Biden administration is trying to destroy the country slowly, step by step by step, with all this crap that he's doing? And if you don't know what crap I'm talking about, just put my videos on a playlist and just go watch. And you will be shocked to see exactly what the Biden administration is doing. Because that's all I cover, folks, is government news. It's crazy. But y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments section. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching. And y'all try to have a good day and stay legitical. Peace.